I'm very much into interactivity in work and work that inspires viewers to become participants, because I think often in fine art we see ourselves as somehow distant or estranged from a work and are wanting to have a meaning that we can grasp onto, whereas I think this work asks you to make sense of it yourself, and by you activating it, sitting in it, or photographing it, or whatever, you give the work meaning. I think most public space is designated to functional structures, and what art does is allows us to think more creatively about our environment. When stuff is in the public space that doesn't make sense, it asks us to think about how we can relate to the public, how we can relate to nature, how we can relate to life in ways that aren't so easily kind of explained. And I think there's a need for creativity in the visual culture and the visual landscape that isn't about selling something or getting someone to do something one way or another, or claiming a certain stature. I think seeing art in landscapes and in public spaces, for me, has really been an awakening. All of my work is about framing and context, and how, depending on where you stand, it affects what you see. And as a photographer, these works are frames. The idea of not only making images, but making work that encourages other people to make images is really exciting. Well, this work is so simple, and that's what I really like most about it, in that it's steel, so it's a very strong, sturdy structure, and it's painted black, so you don't have to really worry about damaging it. Well, when I was coming up, you weren't allowed to take pictures in museums, and now it's almost antiquated for people to think about not allowing people to capture an image of a work of art. I'm really excited that these benches will be here for a long time as the park opens and new work comes. I think these speech bubbles actually framing the landscape for visitors who will come long after I move on, and to future generations. I think they will have a relationship to it, and I can almost imagine people coming as children, coming as adults, and coming with their children to interact with these sculptures. And I think I hope we're creating a space for framing our lives and our stories in new ways.